trickiest logs I've had on here. Let's see what we can do. If I can get it without losing my level here, that would be cool. Now what we're trying to do is trying to clear the blade guides on the mill, because I'd really like to get this thing cut just like it's sitting right now. And it looks like we're only going to be able to use one log dog on it. You know what I may have to do? I may have to take the chainsaw and whittle that end down just a little bit. I really want to get this thing the way it's laying right now. Down to the halfway mark, and then we can flip it. This one's probably not going to be much fun to flip either. Yeah, let's see what we got. Alright, so here's the deal with this log. Obviously we've got a very, very pronounced curve, but that also means we're going to have some very big stresses in this thing on the mill. Now I only have one log clamp holding this in. I'm really hoping that holds because I don't want this thing to flop by the time we get to the middle of this thing and it gets a little harder cutting on it. Now, we have it blocked up in the middle. We have it blocked up on the other end to account for the log taper. We do have another hole right here, but it's very shallow and it looks like it comes out right there, so we might get some really good figure around that. I have this thing set up because I'm trying to take full advantage of the width of this curved piece. Now there's a lot you can do with these, obviously the river tables, there's so much you can do with this stuff. And I did have Kruger and Farms mention, you know, that it's a lot of hard work to be able to make something out of this stuff and make it sellable. Now, and he's absolutely right. There's people that do this for a living, but I'm kind of the opinion of I enjoy doing it, so if I can make a little extra along the way, so much the better. And it's always fun to try different things. It's always fun to broaden your horizons a little bit and see what you can do, see if you can make something beautiful. But so we're going to try to mill this thing. I have a feeling this thing's going to kind of go cattywampus on us, kind of go all over. We have a big check down here in this end where it goes all the way down through the log, and we have a really good size one down here that goes all the way through. Now there's a good chance that as I'm cutting this, that check may meet in the middle, because it kind of goes through the log, but it doesn't split all the way down. The one ends about here, and then the other one ends right about here, so there's a very good possibility that these will spread apart. I don't mind that as long as I can get them to dry fairly flat. We're going to cut these 10 quarters so we have enough room to plane them flat with a router sled once they're dried out. This one, we're probably going to air dry this one. We're probably going to strap the pile. We'll see what happens when we get to that point. But I guess all that's left, we'll fire up the sawmill, see what we can get out of it, and see if we can get some good stuff. This one again, this is about a 9-foot long log. You guys could see the rest. It's decent sized. See what happens. let's see what we get out of this. Oh, very nice. Not too bad, huh? Let me see if I can get a close-up of some of this for you guys. Now that right there did not disappoint. That's really nice right there. Now, there's not a ton of character in this piece other than the curve, but around these couple of knots in this log, we have some very pretty stuff. And even have a, yeah, very pretty stuff. And that is just, that's beautiful. You know, that's kind of what we're looking for. I like the pieces with a ton of character, but I also like the pieces that have just a little bit here and there. It really stands out. And around the other knot we have some good stuff, but that by far is the nicest. I can't wait to get that crotch log home. That one has, I think, 5 or 6 leaders that come off of it, and they're all like, maybe it was more like 3 or 4. I'm probably exaggerating, but they were all, you know, 8 to 12 inch leaders coming off of that tree. So that ought to be some really beautiful stuff right there, and we can get that home and mill it. So let's see if we can get this. All right, well, I have the camera quite a ways away from me so you guys can get an idea of how big these slabs are. Unfortunately, I know the camera is just plain not doing these justice. So these are over 9 feet tall right here, 9 feet long. And these are 4 10-quarters, so 2.5 inches thick. And they are gonna make some beautiful, beautiful tables. So we're gonna make 2 tables out of these once they're dry. So just trim the middle straight. We'll probably put a filler piece and keep the live edge on the outside. The outside will be book matched. I think that'll look pretty sharp. I plan on trying to keep as much of this check in it as I can, because that makes for some nice pours and bow ties. But that's pretty exciting. I still have 1 log left out of that load of walnut that we brought home to mill up. And that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot smaller. It's shorter. It's checked perfectly in 4 quarters on one end. So we're just going to mill that into 4-quarter boards, sticker stack them, see what happens when they dry out. If we get anything that's worth, if nothing else, I'll have plenty of material for knife scales and draw knife scales, things like that we can use. But yeah, that's her. I'm pretty happy with that. I didn't know quite how that curved log was going to go to mill it, just because it was such a pronounced curve, and sometimes that's pretty hard to get. And I figured the stresses, I was worried about it moving a lot more than it actually did, but time will tell when this thing dries out. We'll see just how bad those stresses really were on it. We had to orient the log just right so we could get the widest slabs possible out of it. We did end up with some, how many? We ended up with 3 5-quarter boards out of that also. They won't be cut up into cabinet wood. We'll try to make a shelf set or something out of them. Anything just to keep them from going to waste. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that one. I'll catch you on the next one.